So the very first time I saw the plane, we went out to a facility in Las Vegas and looked at one. And I took a Sony Venice Rialto, which is about this big, with a Panavision lens on it, and we took it in and we just put it in different places in the airplane to see where we could physically maneuver, where we could put it, if we were going to potentially need to cut away sections of the airplane, and what would that entail. And being on a gimbal, cutting away sections of an airplane when you're 15 feet in the air is not really an option, because you mess with the structural integrity of the airplane. So we realized right away that we would probably have to shoot as is and come up with creative solutions. And we did end up using the Sony Venice Rialto, which, like I said, is only this big, to maneuver inside that airplane. So the only real limitation with the volume is that we had 250 degrees. So we would have to put the plane in different orientations. A lot of times we would go 12 o'clock or 6 o'clock with the orientation on the plane. And working within it, as long as you stay off critical focus on the volume itself and don't get moire, it looks fantastic. Keeping it grounded in reality is really important to both of us. We never wanted you to feel like you weren't actually in that plane with those people. And anything we did that drew you away, we knew was going to be a misstep. So working within the volume, having backgrounds that interacted flawlessly, the reflections, the interactive lighting. I mean, we ran a big 30-foot by 40-foot overhead panel that would sometimes play content for reflections, but a lot of time would be if you're banking and the sun is moving, well then a light source would go across that 30 to 40-foot panel and go over to the other side. Capturing stunt sequences on this was very interesting because, like I said, we're in a little tiny tin can 15 feet up on a gimbal. And so things that on the ground would be difficult become way more magnified. Placing a camera to capture the action when you have no flyaway walls. You have no places to put the camera other than where you can put it inside or pulling the glass and shooting through where a window would be. So camera placement was really, really important to us, and especially in those action scenes, to get it, to make it feel interesting, to make it feel believable. Getting a call from Mel Gibson to do a movie was an incredible honor in itself. You know, the man has done 5 movies previous to this, nominated for 2 Academy Awards, and he won 1. So just to get a call, to have him ask me to be his next DP when there's only 5 other DPs on the planet who have worked with him, it was probably the biggest compliment I've ever received in my career. And working with him on set was no different. It was like the coolest film school you could ever go to. He's a very emotional director. He's an actor's director, and just watching him and the nuance and the things that he wanted, and then looking at the spin that he would put on things that other people wouldn't. You know, I looked at him one day and I said, you know, this movie in somebody else's hands is a pretty straightforward thriller, but watching the little flourishes and the little places you take it makes it something extraordinary.